I think you're going to love today's Know the Cause. Kyle is here a couple of times. Is a chocolate brain elixir okay on the Kaufman diet? I think you'll love that. Then more in the middle of the show, he and I do this live 1-hour show every other week right here at Know the Cause on Facebook. And we pulled a question out that was really a good question. It's kind of tedious. What do I do about swollen lymph nodes? Kyle and I are going to address that. We have a very special pediatrician by the name of Dr. Deborah Bane joining us today, and she says, we got to change. And then finally, how many of us with cancer do you think, what percentage of us, based on all the knowledge we have, can make good, informed decisions? All that on today's Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. You know, I promised you at the beginning of this year that I would talk more and more about a disease that's impacting every one of us, right? It is fungus, and yet inadvertently it isn't. They're not calling it fungus. I believe there's an intimacy that exists between fungus and the poisons fungus makes and a disease we call cancer. I've been rather outspoken on that. So what I'm going to do is several times through the next few months, I'm going to be talking more about cancer. It will impact all of us if it hasn't already. It has me at my age, it probably has you. And I don't mean I've gotten it, it's impacted. Loved ones end up with this disease. But folks, our health caregivers have no idea what the disease is. They graduate from medical school raising their right hand and saying, I'm going to do right for patients, but I'm not going to know what cancer or heart disease or diabetes or glaucoma is. I'll just treat the symptoms. Oh, by the way, there's a $1 trillion industry called the drug industry that'll help me treat the... You see the handshake that goes on here. And I got a problem with that, I really do. So let's start with these. This comes out of MedPage, a medical website that I kind of like. A survey of cancer patients and caregivers done at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. These are open-minded people. This, I think, is a good place. Showed that more than 2/3 of the patients lacked information about cancer tests and treatments to help them make informed decisions. What? You got a disease that kills the majority of people that have it. And you've got a doctor saying these 3 words to you. We don't know. Sorry, we don't know. That's unacceptable, okay? I think the second you enter nutrition, diet, supplementation, the right supplements, you're gonna start figuring cancer out. The standards of care, I brought you this on Know the Cause many times, used to be chemo, radiation, and surgery. Now it's chemo, radiation, surgery, and immunotherapy, targeted therapy, hormone therapy, stem cell transplant, precision medicine. If medicine was precision, we'd understand cancer. Medicine is not precision, but it's a great name. What about diet nutritional supplements? When you see what I'm going to show you next, it'll bother some of you like it bothered me. These are some of the slides, and the reason they're a little technical, I had prepared a presentation for oncologists. These slides are excerpts from that presentation. And I decided, my producer and I, John, decided to keep them a little technical because I have the brightest audience in the world. I couldn't go on regular network TV and have you understand this, but you guys have been with me a long time and you get it. So let me go over these 2 slides. If these are your successes, might you look around for other therapies? That's kind of an LOL, laughing out loud, right? But if this is what you're claiming success is, well, let's go. This comes out of an ear, nose, and throat, head and neck surgery medical journal. The modest gains of FDA-approved therapies and the limited progress against major cancers is evidence of lowering the efficacy bar that, together with high drug prices, has inadvertently incentivized the pursuit of so-so outcomes and a Me Too mentality. But wait, there's more. Overall cancer survival has barely changed in the past, it's been longer than that, but the past decade. The 72 cancer therapies approved from 2002 to 2014, a dozen years, give patients about 2 months more of life than older drugs, according to a study. Journal of the American Medical Association, Otolaryngologic Head and Neck Surgery in the year 2014. Can you imagine in the past few years since then what the stats are? You think we're living 2.1 years longer, 2.1 months longer because of the therapies? I think not, folks. I don't think we're going to make real headway into cancer until we realize what cancer is. Now, you and I are saying, wow, that's a good statement, but they're not. Cancer is working tremendously for the system. I've said this a million times on Know the Cause. Kids, we're kind of on our own. If you feel that lump, you know, you're washing under your arm, wham, get to a doctor. The road forks after that because the doctor was trained to tell you you must go this way. And some of you will ask the doctor what they ask at treatment centers. Hey, what about diet? What supplements might I use? Can I change my lifestyle? I've read that if I sit in a far infrared sauna and I sweat and it detoxifies my organs, doctors are ill-equipped to answer that. Doctors like to pull in here and write something on a piece of paper and hand it to you, okay? You need to know the facts, folks. We're kind of on our own. Thank you for tuning in regularly to Know the Cause. I'm trying to change the whole face of cancer. It's scary out there, it really is. And once you know that you're not so much on your own, that diet and antifungals can play a role in this, you are empowered. Okay, now I do a live show every week. I've said that over and over on this show. Many of you are tuning in. By the way, last time we had 4,000 people run in and ask a question. Not 4,000 ask a question, but come in to see what's going on. You get the real Doug away from the makeup and the nice clothes and so forth. And I get to sit wherever I want and just try and answer questions because I do play a doctor on TV, although I'm not one. So Kyle and I answering these questions within the context of, could there be a humongous fungus among us? And is that mimicking our diseases? Okay, so let's go to the first one. If mold is found in your home, do you believe it can be resolved ourselves inexpensively, or does it need to be done by a professional?
Depends on how bad it is. A friend of mine who we call Pinball.
Yes.
I went to his house all the time, and one day he decided to start taking up the floors and just remodeling. Turns out there was some mold everywhere. We couldn't smell it. They were nose blind to it. And so they had to get some remediation services. Others have found that there's just a little something going on in the air, started in the shower. Maybe it's the spring or sometime where it's particularly humid. And either way, obviously, let's address it aggressively and let's go Pioneer. I'm going to go Pioneer every time. Because it really helps without you having to do anything and filters and all of that. But it always, Teresa, depends on the extent of the problem. Little Clorox and bleach and things like that in local areas, but if you have to take up the walls, you might have to bring a specialist in.
And by the way, if you have to take up the walls and the flooring, Pioneer is a must if you're going to stay in that home.
For sure.
Okay, hope that helps. Bradley says, I've been on the Kaufman diet for a few months. I've lost 20 pounds and I'm in the best shape of my life. Wow. Thank you, Bradley, for that testimonial. How often are we the most blessed people in the world? How often do we hear that? Really amazing.
It's fantastic.
Hepatitis C for many years. Look, it's spelled wrong. Hepatitis C for many years. I've taken some drug. I can never pronounce drugs, but the names of these things.
You love them.
Oh, do you know when Ruth was pregnant with our last child, there was a drug, and it was called Nicetol. It's to help you through your labor pain. Nicetol.
Not nice at all.
You read not nice at all. But we could have a whole 5 minutes just for drug names. Now, no Hep C. Oh, go back, John. Okay, I take this drug for it. Now, no Hep C. This drug can cure hepatitis C. I'm fairly impressed.
Sweet.
Did you know that? Yeah.
No, that's great.
Now, no Hep C. Is there anything I should take to build up my liver?
Yes.
Yeah, Kyle.
Yeah, we're going to go a little milk thistle. We're going to go a little NAC.
To make glutathione?
We like the NAC for glutathione. We might even go liposomal glutathione, not just the capsule form of glutathione, but a liquid kind called liposomal glutathione. Those three, we can go a lot further with artichoke and silifos and various other things, but big three, liposomal glutathione, NAC, and milk thistle. Congratulations on being Hep C free.
Yeah, and the company that makes Dr. Ohhira's probiotics now has a probiotic that makes glutathione
Oh, cool.
in your body.
Yeah.
So call them and they'll go over that with you. What causes swollen lymph nodes? This whole thing with edema. We call it swelling, they call it angioedema or edema. How do you get them to go down? So lymph massage, Cindy, sometimes lymph massage works, but that's a treatment, much like a drug. What's the cause? The name of the show is Know the Cause. What are you doing? Look, lymph nodes swell when they're at work.
Yeah.
And they're really having to work hard, and they get muscles, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So what's going on with your white blood count? Why are your lymph nodes swelling?
Yeah,
Something out there.
Well, I think about, why might a prison fill up?
Yeah.
It's catching the bad guys, right?
Right.
And so something is going on where you're catching a lot of stuff and you're wanting to deal with it. So obviously you're saying, am I eating anything? Or do I have an infection that hasn't been identified yet? So we go Kaufman and all of this. And then you do things like a rebounder, a trampoline,
Good.
that kind of thing.
Good.
Help it move mechanically.
And
lymph massage.
Right.
To deal with the symptoms,
Yep.
but the cause needs to be dealt with diet and the whole Kaufman lifestyle.
Far infrared sauna.
Oh, those
I kinda
are
like too.
huge.
I kind of like that
Golly.
too. Cindy and everyone, I hope that helps. Thank you, Kyle,
Thank
for
you.
coming in. For decades, we've been hearing about the nutrient selenium for use in cancer patients. Nurse Jenny Herbachik is here. Does it really work? She's going to answer that. And then after that, a physician by the name of Deborah Bane is going to teach us we've got to change.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbachik with the Cancer Connection. Did you know that eating a couple of Brazil nuts every day is an easy way to get a natural dose of selenium? Selenium is a trace mineral that helps your immune system and your thyroid function. Research shows that selenium, especially when used with vitamin C and E plus beta-carotene, work to block the creation of free radicals, which are an invitation to cancer. Selenium also helps stop damaged DNA molecules from reproducing. Other foods high in selenium are shellfish and liver. So join me and enjoy a few Brazil nuts every day and get a natural dose of selenium in your diet. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbachik.
Oh, this is fun. Dr. Deborah Bane joins me right now. She and I go back a few years. We've had a lot of fun. We've been talking about her book. I forgot that you were sick and you found your way. The best doctor in the world. Rent the movie with William Hurt, Doctor, I think it was called, where he got cancer. He's seeing patients left and right. Then he got cancer, and that changed his world. Your illness kind of changed your world too. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit today with Dr. Bane is kind of changing the course. This you brought in. I think this is a home run. I love this. We've got to change course. Look, if you're healthy, you're doing well, you're 75 years old, boom. If you're not, change course. And talk a little bit about that, and especially with parents. Is it hard to get parents to hear the D word, diet? Is it rough to get them started on omega-3 fatty acids or probiotics for their children? Do you see resistance in those areas?
I think when kids finally come to me, say they have a chronic illness, they're desperate, they've seen other people, they're ready for change, they're ready for the hard discussion, okay? Some are more resistant. When I present to them, they have, 12 things that they have to eliminate from their diet. I do get pushback, and it is hard, but we have nutritionists to help them along the pathway.
And, I always say this, doctors, now you're a pediatrician, doctors have twice my IQ. And so when you have someone who is trained in Western medicine, then come down with a couple of bad diseases, how difficult was it for you to say, I must be doing something wrong. I've got to change courses. And that was a long time ago.
Right.
And obviously you did something right and you're doing very well and your practice is thriving and your health is thriving. Was it difficult for you, let alone your patients, to change?
For me, I had cancer when I was
Right.
39 years old. And, I've been cancer-free for 11, 12 years now. So to me, it was a necessity. And I think that's why I'm so effective in helping other kids, and families to say, I've been there. I did drink, sodas back then and eat granola bars and, things like that for breakfast. That not that that's all bad, but
Right.
you have to put in the good the fruits, the vegetables, the paleo kind of diet, the eat real food. Because if you don't, and you're eating the standard American diet, it is a collision course to badness.
She's the right person to ask if antibiotics should be handed out like candy. She's the right person to ask if supplements can help. I want to talk a little bit about what we call milieu, the terrain of the gut. 21 years ago when you began in pediatrics, didn't know too much about it, right? We knew what antibiotics were, we just didn't know what probiotics were. And now those probiotics become imperative. And even gastroenterologists are you would think they'd be the first, right? But even gastroenterologists are saying thumbs up to probiotics. Are they used a lot in your practice?
It is a staple in supplements that we would recommend, especially with the antibiotic-exposed kids or the C-section babies.
Okay, and how many of your patients have brain problems? And there's just the code books now must have hundreds of.
I kind of lump it all into neurocognitive delays.
Okay.
That's speech delay to autism.
Okay, good. How many of this versus how many of this? Is it half and half in your practice?
Oh, no, I mean, it's probably about a third of my practice I might see have some sort of delay, and that is huge because 20 some odd years ago, we might see one autistic kid a week. I would see probably 6 autistic kids on a daily basis. Some of them new, some of them are doing lab follow-ups and things like that.
I want to take the final minute and talk to you a little bit about just that. Autism was a word we couldn't say because it wasn't defined 30 years ago. Today it's a huge problem. Is there hope? Is there help for these kids?
Absolutely. I mean, through our whole healing program, you get to the root of the problem. The immune system wants to heal, and you get them the nutrients that it needs, and you fix the gut.
I bet you guys cry a lot in your practice, when you see these.
Happy tears.
Oh, these little angels. By the way, Dr. Bane is a functional pediatrician. What does that mean? When your child is dysfunctional, the bowels aren't working, the skin, the brain isn't working, they need to enter into an area called functional medicine. This is a practice that will take you from the symptom, from the first time you visit, all the way down the road to healing, whereas a pediatrician typically, boom, boom, take this pill, you're gone. Go see another pediatrician. Thank you for your heart. I know of your practice well. I know the people in it. I know your patients. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your practice. By the way, it's healthykidspediatrics.com.
It is tea time. You wake up in the morning and you want to get the brain working again. Maybe you're bored with coffee. Maybe you don't really like tea. We're going to do something a little bit different. Some of these ingredients you've never heard of, but that's okay. We'll walk through it step by step. This is a chocolate brain elixir. You'll love it. Let's start with some dry and oily ingredients first that we'll pour the tea over in a blender. That's right, we'll do a blender. We start with a little coconut oil. Sorry I'm moving around, Joe, but we put the coconut oil in first, put that down into the blender. We're perfect. Then 2 tablespoons of raw cacao. That's chocolate for most of you, but now it's cacao and it's raw and it's delicious. I love it. Now, you may never have heard of blue-green algae. The blue-green algae and the chocolate both have an ingredient called PEA, phenylethylamine, and it is the love nutrient. It makes you feel like you are in love. It gives you a euphoric feeling. It wakes the brain up, makes you feel good. The next one, this is one you've never heard of, I promise you. Ho Shu Wu. It's a Chinese herb. It's a root, actually, of an interesting flower, but it's called Ho Shu Wu. And get this, those PEAs from the chocolate and the blue-green algae, this stuff will make it last in the brain longer, so it sticks with you all morning long. And finally, another one you may not have heard of, it's called mucuna. Mucuna. It also keeps it in the brain longer. It's also a good source of L-DOPA, alleviates depression symptoms, it makes you feel real good. Then we just simply take this. This is a tea that a lot of you have not heard of. It's called Gynostemma tea. Also a very, very popular Asian tea. It's very light, a little bit sweet. We've steeped about 12 ounces of this and we're ready to roll. So let's pour that in. A lot of you are not used to putting tea in the blender, but this turns it into an elixir, which is what we want. Oh, and don't forget to sweeten it a little bit. I have some stevia here. I'm just gonna put about a scoop of the stevia in. You do it to taste. Let's put the lid on, close it up. I'll just power this up and do this a little bit. That's it. The good guy fats really make the brain come alive, as do the PEAs in the chocolate and in the blue-green algae. I'm gonna pour this. Let's see how it comes out. See, this one's kind of thin, like a coffee. A lot of my smoothies and elixirs are real thick. This is nice and thin. It's warm, so it gives you that nice, hearty. You smell that, Joe? That's nice. Okay, mine needs a little bit more stevia, but what you get is that good, rich chocolate. You have all of these different nutrients that work together to make your brain feel good. No caffeine, and phase 1.
Have you been told you have hypertension or high blood pressure? It's called the silent killer because it's usually unnoticed until you get a heart attack or stroke. A recently published study has discovered amazing news. Garlic, one of our favorite antifungal spices around here, was shown to be just as effective at lowering blood pressure as the leading medication, which is called atenolol.
That looked pretty good, Kyle. I got to admit, that really looked good. Thank you, Kyle, for being here today and helping me with swollen lymph nodes. Thank you, Dr. Bane. In a sea of doctors who are robotic, it's so nice to meet Dr. Deborah Bane and get her take on pediatrics. And then finally, only a third of us feel confident to make informed decisions. Folks, there's got to be change, and that's why I hope every day you tune in to know the cause. Watch my live show, join us on YouTube and Facebook. God bless you. We'll see you next time.